Welcome to the Wellness Bridge. I'm Gary Chen, physiotherapist and founder of GC Integrative Physiotherapy and Wellness on the Gold Coast. This is where Western science meets Eastern wisdom for whole person healing. If your scan came back clean, but your back still screams when you stand, what is actually happening? Today, we are not saying pain is imagined, exaggerated, or all in your head. Pain is real, felt in the body, and it can change how people move, sleep, work, and trust themselves. But sometimes the danger signal becomes louder than the tissue story can explain. That is where the brain and spinal cord become central to the conversation. The question is not, are you damaged? But why is your alarm system still protecting so hard? In chronic pain, the nervous system can learn to amplify input from muscles, joints, skin, light, sound, and stress. That learning is not weakness, and it is not failure. It means there may be practical ways to retrain the system with education, pacing, breath, sleep, and movement. With me today is Sarah, a Brisbane-based peer practitioner with physiotherapy and movement experience.
Thanks, Gary, and I appreciate starting with validation, because people with persistent pain are often dismissed too quickly. When someone hears pain lives in the brain, they may fear we mean the pain is fake. We mean the brain is the control center, interpreting threat, context, memory, emotion, and body signals.
In clinic, I often see this after a back injury that should have settled mechanically. A person bends carefully, guards every step, and scans the room for what might trigger the next flare. Sometimes even a light brush of the skin feels sharp or threatening.
That pattern immediately makes me think beyond local tissue, because allodynia is not a simple muscle tightness story. It suggests the nervous system is turning ordinary input into a pain message.
Exactly, and we also see hyperalgesia, where something painful feels far more intense than expected. Then there is global sensory sensitivity, where lights, sounds, and busy environments feel unusually grating.
That matters because patients often separate their symptoms into unrelated boxes. Back pain over here, poor sleep over there, irritability somewhere else, and movement fear in another corner. But central sensitization gives us one possible frame for why the whole system feels louder.
I remember a composite patient like David, a 55-year-old surfer on the Gold Coast. His scan no longer suggested an active structural crisis, yet his back still reacted like danger was everywhere. Even the air conditioner hum felt grating to him that day.
That detail is clinically important because pain modulation is not only about the injured body part. It is also about filtering, prediction, threat appraisal, and how the nervous system prioritizes protection.
Sarah, where I see the physio lens, you often bring a broader behavioral and somatic lens. What do you notice first in people aged 40 to 65 with persistent pain?
I notice the boom-bust cycle because it keeps reinforcing the pain memory. People finally have a good day, then they do all the gardening, walking, cleaning, and errands they avoided. The next day they flare badly, and the brain learns that movement equals danger.
That is why graded exercise must be boringly consistent, not heroic. A 10-minute walk may be better than chasing a perfect pain-free day or testing the limit.
I agree, although I would challenge one phrase I still hear: exercise until it hurts. In sensitized pain, that can train the alarm system to expect threat from ordinary movement.
I will frame it as choosing a repeatable dose based on time or repetitions with symptoms monitored carefully. We are building movement confidence, not proving toughness.
This is where Eastern movement traditions can contribute if we translate them responsibly. Slow attention, breath, posture, and rhythm can help people sense the body without immediately bracing against it.
And our language must stay clear and clinically grounded. In my model, PhysioQ means physiotherapists design Qigong-informed therapeutic movement for balance, breath, body awareness, and movement confidence.
That wording matters because it keeps the practice inside movement education, not mystical claims. When a patient says qi, I often translate that into autonomic and interoceptive experience.
Yes, it is about how the person perceives breath, internal state, tension, ease, and safety. When someone says meridian, I translate cautiously toward neurofacial pathways and movement relationships.
And when someone describes Deiki, we can call it a patient-perceived sensory marker. We do not need to overclaim to respect the experience.
The convergence is interesting because Western science describes a nervous system that can become hyper-responsive. Eastern movement practice often asks the person to slow down and listen before forcing change.
Where I think they diverge is evidence language. Science demands mechanisms, uncertainty, and testable claims, while traditional language often uses metaphor and lived sensation.
My job is to bridge those domains without pretending metaphor is measurement. That is especially important under Australian clinical advertising standards and professional scope.
It also protects patients because desperate people can be vulnerable to certainty. Persistent pain needs hope, but not promises.
So let us bring in the brain evidence carefully. Research suggests brain structure and connectivity may influence why some people develop persistent symptoms after injury.
I would say that as vulnerability, not destiny. It tells us early support and nervous system retraining may matter, not that someone is doomed.
Agreed. And chronic pain can also be associated with physical brain changes over time. That should create urgency for good rehabilitation, not fear.
Because brains are adaptive, and the same learning capacity that can amplify pain can support new patterns.
That is the heart of the GC integrative model. We rule out serious pathology, respect tissue healing, and still ask what the nervous system has learned.
What does that look like practically in your clinic?
First, we explain pain physiology in plain language, so the person understands the alarm system. Then we stop chasing low-value repetition of tests once appropriate medical review has ruled out serious concerns. We shift from a diagnostic mindset toward a rehabilitative mindset.
I like that, because endless searching can accidentally keep the brain scanning for danger. Patients deserve answers, but they also deserve a path forward.
The bridge is education, graded movement, breathing, sleep support, stress awareness, and respectful hands-on care when appropriate.
And I would add language hygiene, because every scary sentence can become part of the pain memory.
Saying your back is ruined is different from saying your system is sensitized and trainable.
One closes the door, and the other opens a cautious rehabilitation pathway.
Let us give listeners 5 things they can do today. First, name the pain as real, but understand the alarm may be overprotective.
Second, choose a graded movement dose you can repeat tomorrow, not a challenge you survive today.
Third, use diaphragmatic breathing to support a calmer autonomic state before movement or sleep.
Fourth, protect sleep hygiene, because poor sleep can feed neuroinflammation and sensitization.
Fifth, reduce threat where possible through education, pacing, reassurance, and support from qualified health professionals.
I would also tell clinicians to listen for sensory sensitivity beyond the painful area. If lights, sounds, touch, and stress all amplify symptoms, widen your clinical reasoning.
For patients, that does not mean everything is wrong with you. It may mean your protective system needs patient repeated evidence of safety.
And that evidence comes from consistency, not intensity. 10 calm repetitions may teach more than one dramatic breakthrough session.
That is why integrative care should feel grounded and practical. We can respect Tai Chi and Qigong principles while staying inside physiotherapy, exercise, education, and movement confidence.
We can respect scans while remembering that imaging is only one piece of the pain story.
Safety boundary before we close. This episode is education, not personal medical advice, diagnosis, or a promise of specific results. New, worsening, unexplained, or severe symptoms should be discussed with your GP or an appropriate qualified health professional. If medication or medical management is relevant, that conversation belongs with your GP or prescribing clinician.
And if you have persistent pain, please do not hear blame in this conversation. Hear possibility, because the nervous system can learn protection, and it can learn safer patterns too.
Sarah, thank you for bringing a peer lens that respects both evidence and lived experience.
Thank you, Gary, and I appreciate the bridge between precision and compassion here.
I am Gary Chen, physiotherapist and founder of GC Integrative Physiotherapy and Wellness on the Gold Coast. This has been the Wellness Bridge, where Western science meets Eastern wisdom for whole person healing.